Welcome. My name is Chaga Kamanga. I'm from Malawi, working for ChristianAid. ChristianAid also works together with other organizations in ACT Alliance. Today, I would like to present to you on one of an innovation that ChristianAid did together with its partners in working with communities trying to build their resilience. And this is basically sharing information with the local community members that is scientific. For Malawi, for those who might not be easy to know, it's actually in Africa, and that's where it is. My presentation outline will go through the common disasters in Malawi, and then I will also tackle some few underlying factors, which I'll call them like vulnerabilities that are within the communities. Then the innovation that ChristianAid and its partners is bringing into the communities that has made some difference. It's a very simple thing, but then with the communities, it has actually made a tremendous kind of results. Then there will be, of course, some recommendation at the end. Malawi, which is in Africa, is actually hit by a number of disasters. Much of them include droughts or long dry spells. And again, another one is floods, amongst other common. But these two have proved to be so common that they have had a number of impacts within the communities. Just trying to bring a human face, you would actually see how many people have been affected since years from 1990 to up to date. So we have a graph presentation of people affected, and then below that we have got a graphical presentation of economic damages that have resulted from floods and drought for some time. Now, when we were doing our vulnerability assessments, before this project was initiated on the ground, we did some assessments, and one of the underlying factors that we found out was the lack of information amongst the communities in view of climate variability as well as information that would make them prepare. And we thought as a program, we would bring in some issues to make sure that we are responding to that. So as ChristianAid and partners, we try to innovate, bring in an innovation that brings down the information that is scientific to the community level for them to have a good preparedness. And the other one, of course, is poverty. That's why we also, in the same program, we also bring in activities that will improve on economic empowerment as well as improved livelihoods for the people. Now, what is it that we do with this weather information that is so scientific to community people, sometimes which they cannot even understand, okay? Like that map is map of Malawi for the past rainy season. As you could see it's very difficult to a community person to interpret what does that mean, what that means. Basically, if you look at 25, 40, 30, and 25, 40, 35 in both two segments, Malawi is divided in two segments in terms of climatology. If you talk of the rainfall patterns, there's a northern part and southern part. Now, for this year time around, we had a similar outlook for the season. So that brings summarizes the information like how weather is going to be in the whole of a season. So we're expecting normal to above normal rainfall. But then how do we make that information trickle down to the community? So we, as a program, as an organization, through this project, we make sure that we bring such information now to district level and again to community levels. Because this is just a matter of telling them what the weather is going to be so that they actually prepare well for a number of activities within the year. Now, as a matter of result, you will see that, you will see that the overall information will basically prepare the community on their economic activities like agriculture and other things. So they would actually know what to grow, they would actually know what to plant, they would also know what agricultural practices to include if they at all need to adopt appropriate to respond to the changing environment in terms of weather. They also have to what do they need to maintain their appropriate structures like houses and other things. We feel that with that information, if they exactly know what they're supposed to do after being informed, some sort of resilience is going to be built at the community level because they'll have to prepare and act accordingly. and even what economic activities they could be engaging in. But then, if you look at that, this is more of like a seasonal forecast. How do we make sure that each and every time people are responding to how weather is changing? Because for a particular year, like in a year span, the weather would be changing now and again. So we'll also follow up with them with now a 3-day to 5-day bulletin at the community level. This is so scientific, but we have to bring it down now to community. How do we do it? We now like engage in with private sectors who are telephone service providers. We bring that information through our telephones, which at the community level, then the people would be receiving messages now and again how the weather is unfolding so that they prepare now and again against whatever that they're doing. So that is how the information would be flowing. The Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services, they actually provide and generate the information. But that is sometimes so complex that the community people cannot understand. Then it has to be translated or put into a simple term that a community member should be able to understand at a program level. That's why we have got Christian Aid and partners there. Then ESOCO is a private company that comes in now. How do we transfer that information into phones? Then it should get the community, rural community people. So you'd see then it goes down to community volunteers, one of our community volunteers just in the middle and others, and then basically it gets to the community. So the community gets this message in a very simplified, well-comprehensible way so that they make use of that. Now, when the information gets to the community volunteers through cell phones, the community volunteers have to make a way that that information gets to everyone in the community so that whether a farmer, a fisherman, everybody should understand how the weather is going to be like. Or for this, we are doing this to make sure that everybody knows how the weather is unfolding. If it is to prepare prepare for floods, they have to be aware of that. If it is to prepare of what to grow to respond to the dry spells, if there are any going to be dry spells, they have to prepare that. So the ground estimation goes like forwarding of text messages to a number of people. There could be announcements in any community meetings so that people understand what is going to be like tomorrow or next week. Voicing around communities in community meetings. Pasting written posts in strategic places for everybody to see for public viewing. Now, we have seen already results. This program has just run for a year, but already we have seen results in the areas where this has been initiated. We have already seen people, after receiving the message, they right away start responding. If the houses were not in order, then they start thinking of how to make the houses in order so that if there are any catastrophe, they should be able to respond. And again, even in agriculture, they're also even bringing in drought-tolerant crops and even some other technologies which would respond if there are any dry spells. That is an example of conservation agriculture, which has been proven to do very good in areas where droughts are very persistent. So we feel that is the output of bringing this scientific information on the ground. In terms of looking at the results, we have already experienced like no losses in lives in areas where this system is in place, like few communities where this is working. If they compare with the past events, there have been no losses of lives. Of course, there might be some houses destroyed or crops being damaged, but there has been a decrease of such events. And then improved yields despite some dry spells. That's one of the things that we could see as a result of bringing this information at ground level. Now, in conclusion, I think everyone in here would understand or would agree with me that through science, we have come to know that climate is changing, isn't it? Yeah? And even through science, we have also tried to link disaster and climate change, haven't we? The other thing is, therefore, we need to have science. We also feel that science can also play a major role in preparing the communities against these disasters, which are coming as a result of a number of issues. With this information, people would be efficiently and effectively complement their indigenous knowledges about any impending disasters and then prepare accordingly. So we therefore need to invest in this. If for some time, I think weather information that is scientific has been so useful to aviation or marine industries, but it hasn't gone down to benefit a rural person in any livelihood activity. So I think this is time now we try to bring that scientific information in a simple term to grassroots level. I think that's would to some extent improve the resilience of people. We therefore need to some extent invest in making sure that scientific information is also made available in a very good manner to community people. With that, I think then we could bring in, we could try to build some sort of resilience at community level by investing into that. Thank you for listening. I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.